There really is a Torah of love and a Torah of hate, which is to say that we can take Torah, we can take Jewish life, and we can use it to build up connections with each other and build understanding and devotion to a more just and merciful world, or we can use it just to further our own interests and to stoke anger and hatred and intolerance. This was especially evident over the course of the last week. I watched on Sunday the online the stream from the Knesset as a new government, the most diverse government in Israel's history, was sworn in, and there was a constant stream of heckling and jeers of members of Knesset from one party to the next, mockery and a lack of respect and a lack of allowing other people to speak, even when that courtesy had been extended reciprocal. So there was that and name calling and ad hominem attacks and really things that seemed to stretch from a Torah of hate. Same was on evidence the week before at the Western Wall when yeshiva students, building on the teaching of their rabbis, their teachers, tore apart sidurim that were used by the Nashot HaKotel, the women of the wall, women who, in line with Orthodox tradition, were having their Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of the month prayer service in the morning at the Western Wall. Yeshiva students who tore apart prayer books with God's name in them because they seemed to be practicing a Torah of hate. Everything in this world, from the most sacred to the most mundane, can be used to build love and understanding or hate and intolerance. It's our obligation to make sure that we don't further and we don't hector, we don't act as if intolerance and hatred is okay. This is more than evident in this week's Haftorah when we read the story of Yiftach. Yiftach is it's the story from the book of Judges. He's excluded by his brothers because he comes from a different and less socially acceptable mother than the rest of his brothers do. So they kick him out until they need him to come back because he gets kicked out of the house and becomes something of an outlaw. And then there's a war, and the only person who's tough enough to lead the people in war is Yiftach, who got kicked out. They bring him back in, but then he's successful, but he shows the lack of understanding throughout his life that's been drilled into him because he's been taught a Torah of intolerance and hate. He does the right thing, but there are issues. When we use religion or any principle we have to push people away, it really has effects far down the line. That's been more than evident in the problems our society, the Israeli society, has had. We have to draw on a Torah of love and make sure that we draw the line when people use good principles to do bad things. Shabbat shalom.